Welcome to another DorkLair collecting video. I am back with another Four Horsemen Studios surprise box unboxing. It feels like Jacob Marley was like just yesterday. It's been a full year since the Monkey King, and this is kind of in that spot. Like it's May. It's kind of that off season. There's no holiday around here, so it'll be interesting to see what this is. A couple things to consider as I'm kind of like making some predictions here. One, it is the 25th anniversary of Four Horsemen Studios and the 10th anniversary of Mythic Legion. So it's a big like anniversary year for Four Horsemen. This is a much different shaped box than we've had before. I mean, it could be a regular standard sized Figura Obscura box and they just put it in a different shaped box. But I feel like it feels heavier. I feel like this is going to be something in a more square box. It's definitely not like Headless Horseman, Horse and Rider 2-pack size, which is like out to here, but it's definitely a lot thicker than your standard Figure Obscura boxes. So we have those two clues. I also had a little clue in the email that actually had the initials EG, which I'm kind of stumped on. I was kind of thinking it could be Egyptian god, but then like, it would be like Osiris would be the name of the figure, not Egyptian god. So why would they use EG for that? Something like way out there that I was thinking could be still going with mythology, could be Enkidu and Gilgamesh. That would be pretty wild. Other than that, it's just like kind of wishes. I've always wished for a Green Knight from Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. I know a lot of people want to see some pirates. There's been predictions of Greek mythology as well, like potentially a Medusa or something like that. Definitely due for a female character in the Figura Obscura line. So there's a lot of great options out there. One thing I hope is that it's a surprise to me. So let's crack this thing open. I've got my trusty knife right here. Let's get into it. It's exciting. New shape box. It's heavy too. It actually says on the back 6 pounds, and then it's got Dork L on the bottom there. But yeah, so here we go right here. Got this box open. Moment of truth. Let's see what it is. Everybody who's watching already knows what it is because this is debuting the day of the drop. But for me, this is my first time. Here we go. It looks Egyptian. It is Egyptian. I was right. Anubis right here. And the reason why the box was so heavy was because there's two in here. So I was right. Egyptian gods. Oh, this mug is nice. This is a nice one right here. So we got the mug. We've got the pins. Let me get my knife closed here. And then we got to open these up. Bastet first. Let's see what this looks like. Packaging is gorgeous. I mean, every time they do one of these, Nate just goes in another direction. And, I mean, just look at that. Beautiful stuff here. And I can't wait to read about Bastet because I don't know much. Check out the fold out. And then here is the character right there. Really cool. My lights aren't going to be great for this, but yeah. Okay, so there's that. When I get the video going, the review portion, I'll get it all squared away and get everything lit properly. And then here's Anubis. Anubis looks like... This is interesting. So here's Anubis. I think Anubis uses some of the new parts. Like some of the new bare arms. And possibly new bare legs and stuff. Multiple head sculpts. Tons of accessories. Oh, wow. There's just a lot going on here. But yeah, so there's Anubis, and here's some more artwork on the back. Excited to, read all the awesome copy, just dive into the lore of this stuff. Thank you again, Four Horsemen Studios, for continuing to include me in these awesome, fun events. I know a lot of people look forward to these weekends as some of the best collecting moments, in all of collecting. So thanks again. Let's get into this review. DorkLair! Welcome to another DorkLair action figure review. Today I'm taking a look at the Figura Obscura Gods of Ancient Egypt Anubis and Bastet double release. I think fans of ancient Egypt, archaeology, mythology, art, museums, and all of that stuff are going to be super thrilled with this set. Not only are these two characters the Four Horsemen interpretation of Anubis and Bastet, but they've also, for the first time, included actual replica items. So the altar in the middle with the Anubis full jackal form, that is something that was found in King Tut's tomb. The cat was also found there, and a lot of these other little pieces are like replicas of things. And so it does feel like the kind of toy that is really made for fans of like ancient archaeology and all that sort of thing. It's just a beautiful set. There's just so many little components to it, so many little display objects. They've gone back again to the diorama stuff, right? Like we had the grandfather clock, we had the safe from Jacob Marley, now we have this altar and the statue, and just like so many little pieces and just intricate little sculptures. Like these little urns, those things open up. You can actually like take the lids off and open them up. So a lot of fun stuff going on in this set. This set is a $120 double release. So you buy both figures together, similar to like a double album. Even though they're packaged separately, they are kind of like one together release for $120. The packaging is gorgeous as always. Nate Barch has just gone in a totally different direction. Like every time they do one of these, they just put the challenge out and he accepts. And the work is absolutely beautiful. Just pulling on the old like hieroglyphic ancient Egyptian depictions of things, and then, adding his own twist and just some beautiful stuff going on in here. I mean, there's the wraparound package. You've got the two different boxes with the characters on the sides and the backs, and Jeremy's wonderful copy on the back, writing up on each character, and just amazing work here. And then that carries all over into the booklet, which, getting a close-up, gives you a nice look at the new Figura Obscura key shape, which that's like a running thing where each time they do one, they have a new key shape. This book is called The Gods of Ancient Egypt, and we have a sort of background information section for each character, and then you have the narrative story for each one. We've got more amazing artwork here. Pretty much I think all the artwork is carried over from the packaging. And then we have the Bastet section and Bastet's narrative, and coming through. So there's the wraparound cover image. Beautiful stuff. And then we go into like the archaeological stuff. These are all of the little accessories and things. So over here it writes about the Anubis like shrine piece over here, and then we have the cat that's I think it's like a copper cat, and over here we have the other little pieces. But yeah, a lot of good stuff. Credits to Four Horsemen Studio over on this page, a little history to them, and then we have more art on the back. So nice little booklet, gives you, like a nice little crash course in this stuff and potentially some sources to go find even more information. Also available, in addition to the figure sets, you've got this pin set right here that has 2 pins, one for each character, and then you have this mug right here, which I think is probably my favorite mug they've done. It's a little bit bigger. I like a lot of coffee, and I think it's just like got a classy shape to it and just a really classy look with this mug right here. You can do an all-in, or you can buy them separately. And if you go to Retro Rags, they do have t-shirts available as well. All right, zooming in, I want to start off just with a little initial side-by-side look at these two. And these figures actually come with multiple looks. I'm calling these the character looks. These portraits are actually a little more animalistic, and then there's a different kind of portrait for each of these that has more of like a stonework, statuesque kind of look to it. These ones do have like animal claws, and then they have paws. And then when you swap out to do the like the kind of statue look, or the like, you know, the drawing statue type look, then they have more human pieces, so that they got human feet and then human hands as well. So a couple good options there for different looks with these two characters. And here we do have a nice close-up of Bastet and that beautiful head sculpt. So this is actually two pieces. The front piece is a face piece, and then the back piece is sort of the back of the head, and you can kind of swap out heads. There's some earrings going on there, similar to Calazir from Mythic Legions. I love all of the super clean gold ornamentation on there. And these things, I'll show you the other heads later with the accessories, but there's some different layouts of those ornamentations. And then you have the neck collar piece, which is just highly, highly detailed. Again, Figura Obscura, they do not hold back on any of it when they do the Figura Obscura stuff. The torso, the figure itself is pretty much all new. Like, it's funny because the torso is pretty much the Alithia torso, but you'll see it's actually a new mold because it has the hinged neck on there, which is a great addition. I hope that they, you know, kind of keep doing those hinged necks. It just adds just a little bit of extra action. There's a close-up of that collar. Let me put it on and kind of see a close-up of that collar right there, and then get the head back on there. And then the arms are brand new. This upper arm has this piece around it that's sculpted in. The lower arm is fully bare. In fact, you can pull the bracelet off. Okay, so that is actually a fully bare lower arm. When you are messing with the hands, it comes with a bunch of swappable hands. These are super tiny hands, very, very delicate. I highly recommend heating them up. The lower torso may be the exact same piece from Alithia, and I want to just like dim the light just a little bit here so that you can see the paintwork on there. It's almost like mummy wraps the way they did it, and it's kind of got a little brown wash in there. Gives it a little bit of a lived-in, real-world kind of feel to it. But the transition to the cloth goods here works well too, because this also has some of that same brown color in it. So hopefully that comes through with the slightly darker look there. And then you have this belt here, which is all one piece. Looks amazing. And then you have the cloth like loincloth piece down here. So two separate pieces with the cloth goods. You have a tail on there, and the tail is a bendy wire, so you can have it kind of curling up like a cat would have there. And that fades from the brown into the blue here. Here's a look at the brand new leg as well. So, you know, we have not had bare legs before. In the same situation here where you can remove that, you know, anklet, if you will. And then a nice look at these paws right here, which actually don't have peg holes. This is a small surface area. It would have been nice if they had included peg holes for that, for folks who might have wanted to, you know, have their figures on a peg stand. And then here we have Anubis, and a very similar situation here where this head sculpt is kind of, you know, more animal-like, a little more fur-like, and you've got that like glossy, you know, doggy nose here with this jackal head, these long ears, and also has some nice gold detailing there. Very similar back of the head piece in terms of the overall look and sculpture there. But yeah, this just looks awesome. So cool. And then he also has a collar. And then his neck is also an interesting situation. So I'll pop his head off, and then just kind of a quick look at how beautifully painted and sculpted that collar is. That is just exquisite. It feels like an artifact, you know, like it feels like something out of a tomb. But then you have, you know, this neck is interesting. So this neck is removable, and it comes with an alternate neck, a more statue-like neck with like cracks, and kind of looks like stone and stuff. So you can do the different looks there. And this has a hinge as well. So this is a very interesting setup that is a lot different than your usual bare. It's not a bare torso, but it's, you know, effectively a bare torso from the collar up. So it's different than usual because the neck isn't usually removable on those. And before I put the head back on, here's a nice close-up look of that torso so that you can kind of see what it looks like. It's got like the suspenders, and then kind of carried over with those reds and blues, sort of a scalloped, like a scaled kind of look here. But just beautiful stuff here. The arms are also brand new, and they said these are effectively the same kind of arms that they are bringing into the Rising Suns wave. Obviously, this upper arm is going to be a little bit different because it's got that ring around it here. But the lower arm, I believe, is the exact same piece they developed for that wave because, again, this bracelet piece is removable. And then, it's got that fully bare arm, which we have not yet seen in Legions. And then here's a look at his belt with that kind of eagle wings logo on there with the sun. And you've got all this like textured, almost like textile weaving type sculpture going on. And then down in this piece, this piece is part of the belt. And then there's an additional, loincloth that's more typical of your Legions loincloths down here. And then we've got cloth goods as well on him. And let me just kind of dial this back again so you can get a look at those cloth goods without being washed out. So again, there's some, browns mixed in there as well. And I believe they said the legs are also brand new. There's obviously going to be like very similar to what we've seen for the upper legs on your typical Legions. But again, we don't yet have completely bare lower legs, and that cuff or anklet, bracelet, whatever, is removable. And then there's a look at his paws, and again, he does also not have peg holes there, and he does also have a tail that is wired and has some fade color to it. Here are Anubis and Bastet all zoomed out so you can get an overall look at their silhouettes in a neutral pose. And as you can see, they are fairly tall. Those paws raise them up, as well as the ears and just the taller kind of heads. So Anubis is just almost 8 inches tall at the top of the ears, maybe 7.5, a little under 7.5 to the top of the head. And then you have Bastet, who's probably 6 3/4 inches to the top of her ears. And for comparisons, of course, we're going to start off with some other Figura Obscura figures. On the left, we have the original Headless Horseman. On the right, we have the original Monkey King. And then here we have some Mythic Legions. We have an elf and an orc. On the left is the Colosseum orc. You can kind of get a sense of, a very common looking 1.0 figure next to Anubis. And then on the right, you have a very straightforward elf with just some added cloth goods. That is a standard 2.0 figure so that you can see how that looks next to Bastet, who is also a 2.0 body. Here they are with a couple Mythic Legions brute scale figures. And as you can see, the Anubis figure is kind of like approaching. I mean, it's basically at the top of the ears. It's as tall as that brute scale figure, but it does use 1.0 parts, so it's just kind of a tall, lanky kind of character. And then for a little Stargate vibe, we've got some Cosmic Legions. On the left is the Sphyxian Prison Guard. On the right is Sligor the Gravekeeper. And while we're talking archaeology, we might as well dig up some dinosaurs. Here we have a couple Axie Toys dinosaur battlefield figures. Here we have a couple NECA D&D figures, Masterverse He-Man and Buzz-Off, Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, and Super 7 Ultimates, Mezco 112 Collective. Here we have Ramen Toy Silverhawks and Mafex Superman from The Dark Knight Returns. And finally, Marvel Legends and G.I. Joe Classified. Getting into the accessories, I just wanted to do one shot that shows everything all together, and I'm actually starting to lose track of which things came with which figures. I think it might go like this over here. There's just so much stuff in here. That's Ankh is over here. It's kind of hard to see everything in the shot, but I just want to show you all before I kind of go through little close-ups one at a time. Let's get the biggest piece out of the way first. This thing is huge. It is a shrine, and it's got the, the full jackal on the top there. And then it's got all sort of hieroglyphics and stuff on the sides. And it comes in 3 pieces. So this bottom piece is one separate piece, and then the jackal on the top is actually pegs into this piece. I would definitely recommend pegging the jackal in here first because it can be a little tight. I would say heat up a little bit and get it to be a little softer to get it to peg in. And then once that's pegged in, there's one little notch that you can see that will kind of guide you for putting it on there. But then this actually fits in nicely and snug. And so, yeah, so that's a really cool diorama piece right there. And then here's a nice close-up of the cat statue that comes with Bastet, and it's got a nice base right here. But this is just beautifully painted. I'd love to see an armor on a figure painted this way sometime. Just like a Mythic Legion's armor just painted like that would be really cool. That's a gorgeous piece. They come with these little display pieces here, little like display icons that have a peg in the back, and they also include some stands to put them on so that you can have them displayed upright. So there's an Eye of Ra that comes with Anubis, I believe, and then you have this eagle that comes with Anubis as well. And these are all based on actual like archaeological things. So these are miniature replicas of archaeological finds. And then the one that comes with Bastet is this lion's head right here. And again, like just this one little accessory, just the detail, the paintwork, sculpture is beautiful. And then they do come with some urns, which actually have functionality there. So a little play feature with the removable lids. This one obviously comes with Anubis. And then there's 3 more urns. I believe these 3 came with Bastet. There's so many items, I'm starting to get confused. But so we got 3 more of those urns here. Anubis also comes with this staff right here that he's often depicted with in imagery. And then he's also got an ankh, which is a very common Egyptian thing. Something he's also shown with quite a bit. Even though this doesn't have a lot of paint detail, it's definitely got some beautiful sculpt work on that small little piece there. And then 3 more items. These ones come with Bastet. She's often shown with these 2 things in the imagery. This is a sistrum that is like a musical instrument, and then this is a basket that's supposed to represent fertility. And then she also comes with this piece, also based on an actual archaeological artifact. Anubis comes with 2 alternate heads. The first one is this barking jackal head that is actually like a character type head, and then he's also got this statue head that's supposed to be like it's carved from stone. If you kind of look closely, you can see like cracks and stuff, and it's just a little less lifelike than the other ones. And they have these pegs, and you just pop the face off like that, and then you can pop this in here, and you got that alternate look right there. He's even got an alternate neck that makes it look like he's made of stone. It's got like cracks in it as well. And he comes with a pair of feet, so you can swap the paws out and put human feet on him. Anubis comes with a crazy amount of hands. Some of them are these monstrous hands, and some of them are more human-like hands. This pair of gripping hands has horizontal hinges. He's got a pair of like clawing hands, and these also have horizontal hinges. Pair of open gesturing hands, horizontal hinges. A pair of human gripping hands with horizontal hinges. And a pair of human gripping hands with vertical hinges. So lots of good options with Anubis. One thing I really like about Bastet is she does come with some heads that don't necessarily peg into the headdress piece. I wish Anubis did, but my guess is that he's just never depicted that way in the archaeological imagery or whatever. So that's probably the reason why he doesn't have a head. But it would have been really cool just for like posing and articulation stuff. But you could totally pop this head on there and with the right angle just not have that peg showing if you wanted to. But so here's the cat lifelike head without the headdress. And then here's the sort of statuesque head without the headdress. Then you also have the statue-like head that goes with the headdress. So 4 total faces for Bastet. Bastet also has a pair of human feet, and I love that these come with the pegs. We've had some figures in the past, I think it was the hands and feet packs, where they didn't actually come with the pegs, and it's such a pain to remove the peg from there. It's so much easier to get it from the ankle than from the foot. But yeah, that's nice. So they got the pegs included with both sets of feet. And for hands, Bastet does come with a pair of the clawing hands with the nails and a pair of gripping hands with the nails, and those have horizontal hinges. The rest are human hands. We've got a pair of clawing hands with horizontal hinges, gesturing hands, horizontal hinges, gripping hands, horizontal hinges, and gripping hands with vertical hinges. For articulation, things are going to be very limited up in this head sculpt. You can come down with it because of that hinge. It can come down pretty well, but once you do that, the front head can kind of start popping off a little bit. So it's going to be very limited in terms of what you can do. Turning it to the side works pretty well because you can kind of like straddle the body with these two pieces. But again, when you put pressure on the back of this, it's going to pull the head dress off, or sort of like pull it back. Like, so like you can see that gap happening there when I kind of do that. Then you got to mess around with it a little bit to kind of get it right. But I mean, if that headdress isn't on there and you're just going with the head, if it had like an alternate head without the peg in the back, I mean, the range would be incredible. It would be just crazy because it's got that hinge at the neck. Really great motion in the shoulders on these new arms. Like, the arms can come across his body really well. So this would be, you know, a good arm setup for doing like, you know, sword holding and double-handed wielding and stuff. So those come across the chest really well. They can swing up to about this far. They can go all the way around. And then at that elbow, there's a little bit of a deeper cut, so you get a slightly better range than the old arms, though they are still not quite past 90 degrees there, and you do have a twist at that elbow. But really what makes up the difference is being able to come across the chest, and you know, you're just going to get a lot more action there with these new arms. Twist at the wrist, and then you have the hinges. Some of them are horizontal, some of them are vertical. We got that ball jointed waist, can crunch way forward, can go way back, can go side to side. Just a lot of great range in that waist here on this figure. These pieces are really soft, which is nice because it allows the forward kick to just really go uninhibited. You can swing it back quite a bit as well. There's nothing getting in the way there. You can go out into the splits. He has a twist at the top of the leg. He's got a single jointed knee right here. There's a twist below the knee. Everything feels really nice and smooth. It just moves really well. And then we have a twist at the ankle here. We have a hinge at the ankle. And then we have a rocker at the ankle. The tail has some movement as well. I find it to be a little bit finicky though, because the ball joint is kind of loose. Like, it doesn't have a super snug fit like some of the others. Maybe they over adjusted, because I know that there had been some issues with them being too tight in the tail assembly. But you do have a twist at that, you know, at that joint right there. And then you do have also a wire in the tail, so you can bend it around and, you know, move it around and kind of like play around with the positioning of that tail. And for Bastet, I will just do it without the headdress. When you have the headdress on there, it's going to be much more limited, obviously, but I want to show you it without the headdress just to show off that hinged joint to its best, so you can look up quite a bit. This collar is going to kind of slow things down in the back there, but she can look down a ton. She can cock her head side to side and obviously twist it all the way around as well. So a lot of great range with that hinged neck on that sort of redesigned or updated Ilithia torso. Arm is on a swivel, can come all the way around. You just got to kind of watch out for the collar piece there. Can go up quite a bit, and then you can twist that elbow up a little past 90 degrees. That'll twist as well. You've got a twist at the wrist and a hinge at the wrist. You've got upper torso articulation. With it, she can crunch forward, and she can go backward, and she can twist, and she can go side to side a little bit as well. There is a twist at the waist. This is probably the part that pops off the easiest. It always has been with these 2.0 style figures. That pegs in there and then it twists, so there's no ball joint at that waist at all. The leg can kick forward a good amount, and it can kick back a decent bit. It can go out into the splits. There is a twist at the top of the leg. There is a single jointed knee here. There's a twist below the knee, and then a hinge, twist, and rocker at that ankle. Same tail setup for Bastet. Hers is a little more snug. It feels just right. And then you do have that twist, and you do have the bendy wire as well. And finally, I have a couple part swaps that I want to share with you. First of all, I have Calavius here. Very simply took the belt and loincloth from Anubis and put it on Calavius. And then I kind of like spiced it up a little bit by adding the skirt cloth piece from Cosmic Legion's Kalian that just released. And that is a perfect match color-wise for the color palette of the Anubis figure. And then the other piece is the horns I put on there from Thwick, the Goblin, which has kind of become one of my favorite helmet ornaments. It's so unique to have those red horns. Very cool look here. Calavius just kind of spiced up, just added a little difference to him. I know that figure has been kind of coming back into the wild because they reissued it for the mystery boxes. So a lot of those out there, I thought it would be a great option for the pop and swap with Anubis. Next up, with Bastet being a 2.0 figure, I really wanted to transform her into an elf. I thought those arms and legs would be perfect, and I think it works really well here. So what I did was I took, again, back to Cosmic, I took the Mbira Jimjira armor parts, the shoulder, the upper torso, the skirt piece there, the belt, and then I added the elven head and loincloth from the deluxe War of the Aetherblade set, the tactics set, plus the sword from that set as well, to kind of tie those kind of more muted greens together with everything else. And I think this came out really good, and I'm loving the new parts. I'm loving those bracelets and anklets. Like, this just looks really cool, and it matches really well, and it's a great option. If you're not in love with Mbira, I know a lot of people aren't that happy with that figure. Here's a great option. And similarly, I wanted to showcase the arms and legs from Anubis on a pretty standard 1.0 torso. And so I have the Xylernian guard torso. I do have the Gold Knight belt. I actually took the skirt and loincloth cloth goods from the Artemis Silvercord 2. And then the cape is actually a custom piece, which is from C. Jessam. So that is actually one piece that's not standard Legions. And the head sculpt, of course, is probably my new favorite pop and swap head. I've been using it on everything from Cosmic to Mythic and beyond, and that is the Zendi head from the Paxis wave, and it's just looking really good. The color match is almost perfect. It's like spot on right here in terms of this look. I feel like this has a nice classical look to it, and it's a great option for those arms and legs that come with Anubis. Final thoughts: Four Horsemen killed it yet again on this absolutely amazing, intricate, beautiful, historical, mythological release right here, from the research to the artwork to the sculpture and the painting and the packaging and all of the accessories and the extra stuff, the mug, the pins, the t-shirts, just absolutely all in every single time with the Figura Obscura drops. And I am 100% grateful, as always, to be a part of this special weekend, which is just the best thing going right now in collecting. So thanks again. And until next time, may the force be with you.